in Nigeria, and I was supposed to talk with the national chairman of Eatman, and we were supposed to look at the problem because there are reports that in certain parts of the country, that petrol pump price has gone up, like in Abuja. Some of the dailies this morning carried the report that the pump price of petrol have been increased by certain petrol stations in some parts of the country, most particularly Abuja. And the reason they gave was because there is some kind of scarcity. Depots do not have petrol to dispense. Some say it is as a result of the subsidy issue, or can I use the local parlance, wahala. NNPCL says there is no subsidy palaver. However, it is due to distribution issues. But as you and I know, every time it gets to the end of the year, or many a times when it gets to the end of the year, we see reports like this. We begin to anticipate a rise, an increase in the pump price of petrol. There's either scarcity or some kind of increase. And I'm wondering if this is one of those tricks, one of those situations, and I really wanted to talk about it. And I really want the Eatman National Chairman to be on it. I did reach out to Petron in River State as well, but he said he was not available for a conversation. So I would have loved to talk to him as well, because petrol station owners in River State are also complaining that the business has become too cumbersome. It has become too difficult, and a lot of them are shutting down, or some of them, I can't say a lot, some of them are shutting down their petrol stations because they cannot afford to buy the products and sell, because they say it has become an expensive business to run. And because it's my duty to bring about conversations for development so you and I can learn, especially from the experts, I really wanted us to talk about this, because if there is a pump price increase, it will affect you and I. And then it also occurred to me, what will Labour think about this if this should happen? How would Labour react? Because Labour has gone into some kind of agreement with the federal government, and that is why they did not go on that indefinite strike. They threatened to go on a while ago, on the 3rd of October to be precise. So these are some of the issues. And I was hoping to have a solid conversation. But now that I've got just you listening, I have sense in this. I know some of you would say, "Oh, fix the refinery." However, it is becoming a still conversation, because every time you say that, I would always tell you that the government has promised that by December the refinery in Port Harcourt, part of it will start working, and then another part of it will start working towards the middle of 2024. But Warrior Refinery will start working by the first quarter of 2024. So all of these promises are there, and one would like to see if the government can meet the promises that they have made. However, while we're waiting for all of that, how do we really solve this problem? There's the problem of importation. Marketers are complaining that they can't meet the landing cost price. Some of them are saying, "Oh, the price of crude oil in the international market has gone up, and so as a result, it is affecting how they sell in Nigeria." But the federal government is insisting on the current price of petrol. Others are saying, "Oh, I mean, there are different stories. There are different stories to the petrol crisis in the country." Federal government has this version, independent marketers have their version, petrol station owners have their version. I really would have loved to talk to a professional. But hey, what is your take on it? And once and for all, do away with petrol situation, or the petrol situation, or the petrol crisis, given how much blessings we have when we talk oil and gas. And like I said, a lot of you will say refineries yet again, but the refineries are not working. How do we get it right? How do we ensure that we get it right? privatizing our oil and gas sector. What can we really do? What can we really do? There was a bit of good news that finally oil production reached its highest in the year 2023, 1.35 million barrels per day. But at the same time, there was the news of multinationals divesting and leaving, a lot of their onshore sites in the country. So how do we ensure that we maximize this blessing before it goes south? Because the world is looking at moving away from hydrocarbons at most by 2045 or 2050, and the world would have moved. So it's not too early to start planning. It's not too early to start benefiting. It's not too early to start looking at other options. Countries are going after electric vehicles. Countries are going after alternative fuels, cleaner energy. So Nigeria should maximize from hydrocarbons now more than ever. However, it looks like we're still playing. It looks like we're still, dancing and partying while the world is moving in a serious direction. 20 minutes gone past the hour of 5. I am Kala Dakorubatabo, and let's get your thoughts on it. In the absence of my guest, what do you make of the fuel crisis in Nigeria now that it has not ballooned into a big problem that will affect everybody? I mean, already subsidy removal is affecting you and I, but how do we get to the point where we can proudly say, comfortably say, that we will not have any petrol crisis in the nearest future? Solutions. Do we go back to the subsidy era, allow government to pay pending the refurbishment of our refineries? Do we sell the refineries to people? Maybe some of these multinationals, or maybe some of the people we buy petrol from, say, you know what, we're done buying from you. Come to Nigeria, invest, buy our refineries, and make them work. And you get maybe 50% of the shares, or whatever it is, whatever arrangement they want to do. Do we make that happen? Why is Dangote's refinery not up and running yet? I know they said November, but really, can we get crude oil to them already? Some of these issues, looking for solutions right now. 0817-923-0002 and 0817-923-0003. WhatsApp messages, you go to the number 0809-030-6416. Petrol crisis. How do we... Because once this gets out of hand, transportation will increase, food prices will increase, everything will increase, even your electric bill will increase. So how do we nip this in the bud? How, as a citizen of Nigeria, do you think the government should handle this? Right now, everybody's hush. Everybody's, there's no problem. And that's how it started, that period when we bought the bad fuel. Oh no, it's not a problem. It's a slight issue, and before you know, it became a bigger problem, right? It became a monster. And even in all those times when there was scarcity towards the end of the year, everybody said, "No, it's not a problem. It's never a problem." Yeah, of course, it's never a problem. 0817 923-0002 and 0817-923-0003. WhatsApp messages to the number 0809-030-6416. Remember, there is a call screener. She's a wonderful lady. She's going to take your name, your location, and your contribution. I hope I can take one call before I go for my first commercial break. I really would love to do that. But while I'm waiting for the phone lines to ring, maybe I should just go straight to the report that inspired this conversation. And it's on the Nation newspaper, and it says why independent petrol marketers adjusted pump price. So in Abuja already, there is the adjustment of pump price, and I'm wondering if it will get to Rivers State. Now, aside the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited and NPCL, the few independent retail outlets that sold the premium motor spirit petrol in Abuja yesterday adjusted their pump prices above the official 617 litre cap. Now, the nation observed that several filling stations shut down while black marketers who sold in plastic containers were trickling into the major highways. The Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, which the nation sought the reason from, attributed the hike to the non-availability of the product at the depots. All right, so that's what the nation is reporting. We'll go for a quick commercial break. When we come back, I'd like to hear from you. Do stay tuned. 081792300003. Let's get your thoughts on this issue. That was from Monday to 3 days ago, when the Petron chairman in Rivers State was talking about the petrol situation, and he said, "See, it's a difficult business for us right now. We, the owners of filling stations, are looking at alternatives. We petrol is expensive. We buy it very expensive at the depot. However, the federal government is saying there is no subsidy and there is no increase in petrol price all the same. But how do we get by with all of the different narratives to one story?" And then all the issues challenging the oil and gas sector. I've got Zion. Zion is calling from GRA. Let's start with Zion. Let's get your thoughts.
Nicely on your program, when Pengasin came up with that comment, I told you, because of that comment, petroleum pump price will hike. Go check my records. You see this hike you see now? Pengasin is to be blamed. I, Mr. Zion, am owing Pengasin responsible for it. And I asked a question. When President Muhammadu Buhari was in office, serving also as the Minister of Petroleum, mentioned one day Pengasin went on strike. One day. Now, Pengasin, that have been seen to be the mother of the down sector of our petroleum industry, felt rejected, felt like the wife that is no longer loved anymore. She became angry and made this kind of righteous comment.
Hello, are you there, Zion?
He is still there. Ever since Pengasin made this comment, it affected the gas, it affected the down sector. Filling stations were shutting down for just no reason. Today, look at it. I want to beg Pengasin to free Nigerians from this problem. Modular refineries owners are still begging. Pengasin never stand behind them or speak for them. For them, what is the problem of these modular refineries owners? Please give us crude oil. Our products are ready. The modular refineries are ready. Give us crude. Let us refine. Nobody is listening to them. No people see Pengasin shopping. No, see Pengasin shopping. They don't avoid that they are shopping. They cause problems.
All right, so you're saying the independent marketers should okay. All right, keep those calls coming in. Let's try to see if we can get solutions to the problem. 0817-923-0002, 0817-923-0003. If it's a distribution issue, would it affect River State? Would it affect Bayelsa State? Would it affect the Niger Delta in its entirety? If it does, how will it affect you and your business enterprise? What will Labour have to do at this point now that they have gone into some agreement with the federal government? These are some of the issues we can look at. But then again, you should know that according to the Nation newspaper, there is some petrol crisis in Abuja. I was speaking to the ITMA National Chairman earlier in the day when I booked him for the show, and now he's not showing up. He said something of there is no subsidy and subsidy is not being paid, that there are issues, there are no petrol in the depot, but it's not subsidy, it's not an issue of subsidy. So if subsidy is not being paid and yet the government is insisting that the price should remain the same, don't you think you're driving people out of business? And that would mean that only the NNPCL would have the advantage of bringing petrol into the country, and that will be done by maybe crude oil swap, right? And if that is the case, crude oil swap, I don't know. What do you make of this scarcity, the possible scarcity? I just want to get, I'm done talking. I want to hear your views. 0817-923 0002 and 0817-923-0003. I've got Briggs. Briggs is calling me from Port Harcourt. Let's hear Briggs, and after Briggs, there is another caller. I'll get the name and I get the location shortly. But Briggs, welcome on the show.
Good evening.
Yeah, welcome, Briggs.
Malada,
Mm.
do you believe that what I'm seeing in Nigeria is fear everywhere? The day this word allegedly start to be the order of the day in the system, is the day they capture the system. Nobody will go and investigate and say it exactly again. If you say it, they will come after you. What is it that Medicare is still doing in the system? What is it that the NLCC have been empowered to give us fuel and the oil? They cannot bring it again. Canada, go to streets of Nigeria today, in Port Harcourt, if not this coal fire, what will have been the fate of all these women? Go to police station nowadays, no fuel, no kerosene. No kerosene at all in the whole country. Nobody will cough. Nobody will say anything. And everybody will buga. And the only opportunity is supposed to get it fired until 5th of February. And we miss it by Muhammad. But I bet you that God will multiply for the nation. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. I've got Muriel from Okrika. Muriel, greetings to you. Welcome on the show.
Oh, thank you, Kalada. Good evening.
Yeah, welcome.
Kalada, for me, I think the reason for this increase in Abuja now is because all of us started shouting that subsidy is back. While the government told us there's huge subsidy. And as we started shouting that subsidy is back, the government now went back into their shell. They were doing it codedly, secretly, and they called it a intervention. But we and the petroleum marketers, independent petroleum, started shouting subsidy is back. So government now went back into their shell and they refused to intervene this time around. Let's call it the intervention. And that's why, but I wonder, Canada, the increase, is it that in Abuja, is it people that already have the products now decided to increase, or there are some independent marketers that have started buying at the actual landing cost, and hence they have to increase price? That's my worry. Before you know, in our state here, the ones we have, if we finish consuming or is almost finished, trust me, we'll need more. So if independent marketers decide to bring it in, that means the price will increase as well. So are we looking at buying petroleum at the rate of 1,900, 1,000? It will be funny, honestly.
But according to the report, the reason why they are, selling at the high.
No.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
They said the reason why they are, selling at the high cost is because, the product is scarce. It's not available. And the depots do not have enough. Filling stations are shutting down. So the ones that still have the product are selling at a high price, to make up for what. Okay, oh my goodness, the network is terrible. But thank you nonetheless, Muriel. Let's go to WhatsApp and let's see what we have there. Is until federal government stop deceiving themselves, this country is at a mess. How can they continue telling us lies every day? Fuel increase per day. Yeah, my God. Confidence in Levidim from Uzuzu HA. This one says, Kalada, good evening. I want to encourage my fellow Nigerians not to be troubled, concerned how government choking citizens with inhuman policies. Since the introduction of this word by the media allegedly, that is the day government captured the system. Let fuel be sold at 1,000 naira and let dollar be 1,000 naira also. Nigerians fear not. God will soon shame all of them. Chris Onyewenyi. All right, thank you very much. You sound like the person who called in earlier, right? You just said the same thing or similar things. Well, keep those calls coming in. 0817-923-0002 and 0817-923-0003. Now, according to the report, the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, which the nation sought the reason from, attributed the hike to the non-availability of the product at the depots. Speaking with their correspondent in Abuja on phone, the association's national vice president, Mr. John Ocha, noted that the high cost of the automotive gas oil, diesel, was accountable for the scarcity. According to him in Abuja, since yesterday, many filling stations shut down, including, he called the name of a petrol station. Well, later in the evening, they started selling. It changed its pump price to 625 naira. I don't know any other station that is still making sales. The scarcity is because many independent marketers are not selling, and even the tank farm owners, it is only, you call the name of a tank farm that I know who is selling. I don't know of any other. The product is not much there, and the cost of landing of the product is quite high because of the cost of diesel is very high. A liter of diesel is above 1,000 naira. For you to move a truck of fuel from, for instance, from Warri to Abuja, you'll be talking about 300,000 naira or more. And I wonder how many people will do that expense and still the official pump prices. That the government has been silent about it, perhaps for its inability to cushion the cost of the. I'm sure that adjustment is to accommodate the cost of landing, which the government is silent about because they cannot make provision for diesel. The government cannot cushion the difference. The diesel cost is high, and therefore that makes the landing cost of the product to be very high, especially at the very far places. He also noted that aside Lagos and other coastal regions near the depots, it is impossible for marketers in remote states to vend petrol at the official pump price. His words, areas like Lagos can afford to sell at the normal price because the proximity of the source of the product is close. They will not incur much cost in diesel. But those who are selling, like those staying in Maiduguri, Katsina, Kano, Abuja, and the rest of them, we cannot tell them to sell within 600 naira or 610 naira because the landing cost of the product is terribly high because of the high cost of diesel. So government is not saying anything about that. All right. Meanwhile, the NNPCL is insisting that it has petrol stock that is sufficient for the next 30 days. So which side do we, like I said earlier, which side do we look to? Which side do we believe? What story do we take? Now, I mean, reading that article, extra information shows that there's also the additional factor of the cost of diesel, which the federal government has said it has removed VAT on. And the thing is, once there is petrol scarcity in one part, it is a Nigerian factor. It somehow affects the other part of the country. So how do we tackle, and it's not yet a monster, it's not yet a difficulty, but before we start shouting, oh, I don't have transport to move from point A to point B, before we start shouting, government give us palliatives, before we start crying out, oh, the suffering is too much, suffering and smiling, what can we do at this point? Bring back subsidy, swap our crude oil for petrol at no cost, partner with Dangote refinery to get started so that we can, ensure that there is the availability of petrol and at a very affordable cost. What are some of the things that we can do? And I'm trying, today is you and I, thinking out of the box, thinking thoroughly, critically, so that we can avoid some of the because like Obasanjo said in one of the headlines today, Nigeria's problems are not difficult. It's just so that we are we're too indifferent as we are right now. There is a possible crisis looming, and everybody's just concern me, concern me, and that's the attitude. And we talked about the Nigerian mentality, and that's what is playing out. But once it gets to the point where we cannot afford the basic things, we begin to shout, we begin to cry. Well, we could have stopped it, with conversations like this. Once again, 0817-923-0002 and 0817-923-0003. For WhatsApp, 0809-030-6416. This one says, good day, presenter. Nigeria is abundantly blessed with natural crude oil. Why then has a few people held Nigerians to ransom by the self-inflicted pains? The petrol scarcity has given rise to criminal proliferation of artisanal oil bunkering activities in the name of coal fire, which has consequently claimed so many lives. Our politicians have never since said they should go and refurbish the Nigerian refineries or hide their faces in shame. Elder Joel Adolfo from Degima. Jerry is calling from Ozuoba. Hello, Jerry. Welcome on the show.
Yes, hello, good evening.
Yeah, hi. Good evening. Welcome.
Yes, I've been listening to today's rant and I've been very, very happy about it.
Okay.
Well, you asked a question on what we should do, or what the government should do rather. Is that correct?
Yes, what we can as a country, not necessarily government of the people, but what we can as a country do.
Okay, this is two-sided. Let me start from the government side. For me, I really do think that the removal of fuel subsidy was not a timely intervention. They can as well bring it back till they fix the refinery.
Okay.
Then, for we as citizens of Nigeria, I know it's a very steep period whereby we are not able to cope with the recent hike in the price of fuel. But I really do think that we should try as much as possible. Endurance is one of those keys. Because what I want to say now is still linked to the government bringing back subsidy and also removing it when refineries work. So that's the only thing I can really say. So if they can bring it back for some time, let's say a period of 6 months, it will really help.
All right. So that's you're asking they should do what Kenya did and reintroduce subsidy for just a period of time.
Yeah. So if they can, that's in the next 6 months. If they can put the refinery in place, then they start local refining. That can really suffice. Then the subsidy.
But do you think this refinery? Do you think this refinery?
We just keep suffering like this.
Jerry, do you think this refinery will work? I mean, it's been refurbished for what, many years?
So come again, sir.
Do you see the refinery working or refineries working? They have been refurbishing the refineries for years now.
Yes, to one side, the refineries is something that they can actually fix, but they don't want to do so.
Okay.
Perhaps we have some cronies of the government who are actually feeding on the proceeds of imported petroleum products. So, but for me, I really think that the government can actually fix the refinery. But for me, I don't see it coming to pass. But they have the willpower to do so.
All right, then. All right, thank you very much, Jerry. Thank you for your time. Keep those calls coming in, and let's get to hear from you and what you think about the situation. 0817-923-0002 and 0817-923-0003. WhatsApp messages to the number 0809 030-6416. I've got Prince, and Prince is calling from Bunny Island. Let's listen to Prince and let's hear what he has to say. Hello, Prince. Welcome on the show.
Yes, Kalada.
Yeah, welcome.
Good evening.
Yeah.
Good evening.
Yeah, welcome.
The topic, what can we do? I think there is a huge step that government is supposed to take in terms of curtailing these excesses of economic issues in the country. If I were to be president, for example, I will ban the use of dollar in Nigeria.
But we don't. Do we use dollar in Nigeria?
Yes, dollar flies officially because it regulates our economy.
Because we are an importing nation, we
technically we are importing, but we are not importing because there is something that the government does that kind of windows the economy. So I think it's for their own benefit. So because if you look at what happened with those bad fuel and all those things, you can see nobody has been prosecuted to date. So it's a business. It's a kind of a business for this elite. So I don't think there is any way that to come up with a proactive solution. That refinery thing, my brother, is a scam. It's something that I will not say lies because I know they've told us how many December, right from Buhari. We have heard several December. So in fact, their December is not ending.
All right then.
So
all right.
So we just need to keep praying, like they say. Let's pray. Let's pray that everything gets better.
All right, thank you very much. Keep praying, Prince. Pray for Bonny Island, pray for River State, and pray for Nigeria. But that's the much that we can take for now. There's a commercial break coming up. And after that, the major news at 6. And I will be back for the open season where we get to do a recap and look at all the issues that we've talked about today. It's such a pity that my guest could not join me on the show. But we'll talk some more. We'll talk some more for development regardless. Just stay tuned.